How many of us have dealt with a personal drug addiction or a family member's addiction? I bet even more of us have dealt with cancer causing a stir in our lives, or even a disease that requires daily medication with stronger side effects. I know I have dealt with all three of these complications and topics personally, and I am here today to inform you on why medical marijuana would benefit each and every one of us in these circumstances. People in our home state of South Dakota would benefit tremendously with the legalization of medical marijuana. People all over the world, for that matter. Medical marijuana can be used to treat and prevent a number of diseases and medical conditions, as well as opiate addiction and overdose deaths. As for some of the diseases that medical marijuana can treat, it stems from anywhere from neurological disorders such as epileptic seizures, cancer, and also anxiety. Epileptic seizures are a neurological disorder that are caused in the brain due to overactive brain tendencies with excitability. Robert J. De Lorenzo of Virginia Commonwealth University gave marijuana extract and synthetic marijuana to epileptic rats. The drugs rid the rats of epileptic seizures for about 10 hours. Cannabinoids, like active ingredients in marijuana, the THC compound, control seizures by binding the brain cells responsible for controlling brain excitability and regulating relaxation. My husband deals with this on a daily basis. He's on a medication known as Tegretol. He has to take it every 12 hours, so once in the morning and once at night. If he misses a single dose, he's at high risk for grand mal seizures, which can put him at risk while he's on the job, driving, or any other daily activity. If he were to be able to smoke medical marijuana, the THC would stay in his system longer and be less of a risk factor for him if he were to miss a dose of his Tegretol medication. His Tegretol has worse side effects than the seizures themselves, for they can cause depression, anxiety, suicidal tendencies, and thoughts. With this medication, Tegretol, he can't be treated for depression or anxiety because a lot of the drugs for that are contradictive to the Tegretol, so it wouldn't even work. One of the other diseases that medical marijuana would help make simpler to battle is cancer, from a wide variety, from lung cancer, throat cancer, or even breast cancer. Researchers at California Pacific Medical Center in San Francisco reported that in 2007, cannabinoid stops cancer by turning off the gene called ID-1. The study was published in the Journal of Molecular Cancer Therapeutics. It found that cancer cells make more copies of this gene than the non-cancerous cells, and it helps spread them through the body. The researchers studied breast cancer cells in the lab at high expression levels of ID-1 and treated them with cannabinoid. After treatment, the cells had decreased ID-1 expression and were less aggressive spreaders. Medical marijuana users claim the drug helps relieve pain and suppresses nausea. These are the two main reasons it's often used to relieve the side effects of chemotherapy. From a personal viewpoint, I was a caregiver for a cancer patient who suffered throat cancer. He took the chemotherapy drug called cisplatin, which is a platinum-based drug. It started to shut down his liver, kidneys, and other vital organs. And he was not prescribed medical marijuana because we were being treated in a state that did not have it legalized. If he would have been able to gain that prescription, I believe that his chemotherapy would have been a lot smoother. Instead, we've seen him go downhill quite a bit because of his vital organs shutting down. His nausea, he wasn't able to keep food down, and that's when his weight was really dramatically decreased. As for opiate addiction, the states that have legalized medical marijuana have seen a decrease in opiate addiction and opiate overdose deaths. People with chronic pain are turning to medical marijuana versus hydrocodone, oxycodone, and morphine for their chronic pain. According to the American Academy of Pain Medicine, more than 100 million Americans suffer from chronic pain. In an effort to relieve that constant pain, the number of opiate prescriptions has nearly doubled over the last decade. Today, opiates like hydrocodone, oxycodone, and morphine flood the streets, driving up addiction rates and fatal opiate addictions. Over the past 2 decades, deaths from drug overdoses have become the leading cause of injury of death in the United States. In 2011, 55% of deaths were involved by opiate painkillers. However, researchers found that opiate-related deaths decreased by approximately 33% in 13 states in the following 6 years after medical marijuana was legalized. Dr. Marcus Bachhuber from the CDC stated that we found there were about 25% lower rate of prescription painkiller overdose deaths on average after implementation of medical marijuana law. When I worked at a rehab clinic in Tacoma, Washington, once legalization of marijuana for medical purposes was implemented, more than half of our clients of 1,000 people were able to break their addiction from oxycodone, Vicodin, and hydrocodone by simply turning to this drug for their chronic pain. It was such a relief as a caregiver and a medical assistant at the time to see them take this big step in their lives and overcome their addiction. Now, from all these statistics I have stated, with evidence and benefits of medical marijuana, I hope some light was shed on this touchy subject. People all around the world, not in just the 50 states of America, would benefit tremendously from the legalization of marijuana. There would be less reliability on overly addictive painkillers and prescription drugs, and people could work on living a pain-free and more peaceful way of life. What if someone you knew suffered from chronic pain, cancer, or had a drug addiction problem, and medical marijuana was the answer? Would you be more for or against it? My guess is you would be more pro. Together we can bring down prescription drug addictions, make cancer more tolerable to battle, and put a wall up against neurological disorders. Let's give our family members, our friends, and our co-workers a simpler, less life-damaging alternative, and let's choose medical marijuana.